Welcome to another interview by EFSAS, this time in person in Amsterdam. We are very honored to welcome Mr. Fazal Khan, Advocate Fazal Khan. Thank you for coming, sir.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mr. Fazal Khan is a founding member of the Pashtun Tahafuz Movement, the Pashtun Protection Movement in Pakistan. He's also an advocate, and he's also the president of the Army Public School Shauda Forum, which is an I think it's an NGO.
Yes, it is.
Created for justice for the children who were killed during the Peshawar Army School public attack, a terrorist attack in 2014. So, sir, once again, welcome. It's nice to have you here in Amsterdam. And as we start off these interviews, like I've also talked to you in the beginning, is that we first start off with asking some personal questions, because you have been an advocate in Pakistan, and you have been a founding member of the PTM, and the Army's public school terrorist attack took place in Peshawar, and now, but you do live in the UK.
Yes.
So before we come how you made that journey, tell us something about yourself, your life as an advocate, as an activist.
Thank you very much, Mr. Junaid, for having me. It's an honor for me to come and see in person to your office. My life is like a common life of a Pakistani citizen. I born and brought up in Peshawar, Pakistan. Had my education from Peshawar University, and have started my professional career as a lawyer, initially in the district courts of Peshawar and then High Court of Pakistan. I was from the student life in politics like every common Pakistani. So later on, when came into professional life, it also the thing which was always motivating me to stand for the downtrodden of the society, and to raise the voice of those voiceless. So working in Peshawar as a lawyer, but if I would say that my once happy life turned with a what you can say with a full U-turn after 2014 16 December incident which took place in Peshawar, and unfortunately in that terrorist attack I have lost my son, who was a grade 9 student, age 15, along with almost 147 other school kids and some teaching staff. It was like natural that things like that happens in those days in Pakistan, across the border I would say, those terrorism, but we haven't seen it with that depth, because once when it comes to your own home, when something happens to yourself in person, then naturally you have more feeling, and every person of prudent mind would not tolerate it, and obviously for your loved one, for your child, you will probably want to investigate the incident and to know, because in those days these terrorist attacks were common,
But your wish or your work to do something for the voiceless people, that was there already before this attack took place?
Yes, it was. That was the reason, because as I've mentioned you that incidents like that happen.
But how does it, where does this come from? Because mostly what I know about our region, Pakistan, India, this region, people join, many of them do get an education, especially from a place like Peshawar, which is not like Lahore or Karachi. they go to school, they go to college, they go to university to get a good job.
Yeah.
And to make good money.
Of course.
And then hopefully someday to go to Europe or to America and get a better job and make more money. And I understand that this thing, of course, has hit you personally, which I will come to. But you as a young person, does it come from your family? Does it come from people you know? Does it come from influences of, many social movements have taken place in the region of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or Peshawar or, the frontier? Does it come from there? Where does this will and this urge of doing something for the people came from?
Yeah, you are right. People in our part of the world, when they are young, they struggle to get education and then to join professional life and to earn money and to change their future. But I'm the lucky one that I would say that I was born in a family which were financially sound enough, and I was not having that much difficulties and problem. That is one aspect. And secondly, the feelings and the thoughts, because from the student life we used to sit in the company of the friends or the concept which I would say that I was a part of Democratic Student Federation. That was in those days a student union, like student politics, and that was the feeling when living in a society where you see around you people who are like not having many resources, and who are the target or what I would say that victim of the brutality or the state oppression. So it was something from inside. But when this incident happened, it totally turned my life, because that was the time when I was feeling that now this is the time. I should act seriously and should not mum like other victims, other parents, and I should use every single opportunity or any option I should adopt, at least to get justice for those slain children. It was not only for our children, because as I mentioned that incidents like that happened earlier as well, but I was thinking of other parents, because I would never wish, and no parents would wish to see that pain and that trauma which we've been through. So I just wanted to avoid any such like incident in future. It was very important to investigate this incident, and because there was a lot of facts which are not known to the general public, to the media.
But coming to this happened in, and I know this is a very painful part to talk about, but just for the benefit of the people who are going to see this, it happened on the 16th of December, 2014. 16th of December is anyhow I think a very troubled date in Pakistan's history, because I think it was the 16th of December 1971 when Bangladesh, when East Pakistan then became Bangladesh, which many West Pakistanis of today do not like to be remembered about. So you, as a leave the activism for a second, that will come to. But you as a parent knew your, I think, 15-year-old son was studying over there.
Yeah.
And then you heard about this attack. What happened then? What did you do?
If there are no words to me to explain the situation, the trauma, the blow which we sustained, which we got, it was a very horrible day. I would say for us especially, that I don't hope and I don't wish that such a day should come again. It was a normal day when I was in my court. I was busy in my professional engagements in the court when I received a call from my brother. who was obviously watching TV, and he heard this news that there is a terrorist attack on a school, but we were not aware of the intensity that because it was just earlier information mentioning that there was a terrorist attack and 3 to 4 kids are probably injured, and they are on their way to the hospital, and the casualty may arise. So it was just the earlier, I would say, minutes of that incident. When he called me, I was just confused that whether I should go to the school or I should run to the hospital, because unfortunately in our country, hospitals are like unless and until you are there. So I decided to rush to the hospital because every parent will go certainly to rescue his child. So when I reached to the hospital, there were more than 20 bodies by then arrived, and there were a lot more injured people. It's an unexplainable situation. I would say that you cannot explain it in words. It was just the feeling, and you are going through such an agony and pain because these were the children which I used to see every morning coming with their parents, and the parents used to drop them in the school. So they were like smiling and enjoying and having their school bags and their shoulders. So when seeing them in the ambulances and the deathbeds, and it was such a horrible scene that intolerable. And then when the time passes, there was a line of ambulances coming to the hospital, and then the numbers started rising from 20 to 30, 40, 60, 70, 80. And you just imagine when it reached to more than 150 or 147 dead bodies, and there were almost 400 school children who were seriously injured. So altogether it is unexplainable or unimaginable that you see all these bodies coming to the hospital. And then initially I was like looking for the body of my son or want to find him, and I used to rush to every single ambulance to find out if my son is there, or every injured person I was looking his face. But when the numbers rose to more than something 40, then I was not having that courage, because in every single child I see my own son, because they were same, like wearing the same uniform, and the faces were like, as I mentioned you, that not for a year or two, for almost 8-9 years, every day you go to school, you see those children. So it was a very unexplainable, I don't have the words to explain the situation. So being through that pain and that miseries, like I would say, I was looking for the body of my son for almost 5 hours, I would say, because it was by 4 o'clock in the evening when I found his body. And it was my other brother who found actually the body, and then he informed me. And then we took the body to home, and it's very difficult time when you take off shoes of your child and you take off his uniform. He was having 5 bullets in his body, and it's very painful. So then that was the moment, that was the time that you feel like helpless, and you say that this is the end of it, because in our side of the world people focus mainly on sons, and especially on elder son, because he was my elder son, and everyone has such affection and love to their children, so it's natural. But the horrible and the worrisome and the fearsome part was that there were a lot of information or facts which were, I think, hidden from us. We felt like that it is a planned attack.
But we will come to that, and just as you have described the agony and the pain that a parent goes through, which you're right cannot be expressed in words. But what I understand is that it's a feeling of helplessness and not being able to do anything about it.
Yes.
So when did that feeling of yours, of helplessness, of agony and pain, where did you get the courage from to actually keep telling this story and to try to get to the roots of it? Where did you find that courage?
It was like the time when I buried my son. It is, as they say, that it is a very, the heavy coffin which you bury is the act of your child.
Yeah.
And especially when he is of almost your size. So, on the next morning when we find out, because we received the dead body in the evening something, and then we buried it in the night, and the next morning we realized that the density, because I was of the opinion that maybe just like other Pakistani or just like other parents in the world, that it was just an terrorist attack which took place, and no one can do anything. But when I realized the next day and starting querying about the incident, how it took place, and the facts and the evidences surrounding the issue, because on the very next day what happened is that it's natural, whenever such an incident happened, the media rushed to the spot. So what the Pakistan military establishment did to this incident, actually they didn't give any approach or permission to the local media. They cordoned the place, the place of occurrence, and then they waited for Western media to come, like BBC and CNN, unless and until their representative they reached, and then the first briefing, because I do remember the time because we were following it, they gave them this presentation, and then on the second day, rather on the third day, they allowed our local media that okay, now you have to see and film what had happened inside the building. And then when we as a parent, it's our right, and we wanted to know that what actually happened, how come. There were a lot of things, the strength of the school were almost 1,400 students there. So every parent wanted to know what happened inside the school, how come these terrorists enter in a cantonment in an area where it is literally not possible to pass for an ordinary man, because Peshawar is a very strategically very important city, and the school is situated inside a cantonment area surrounded
of the army.
Yes, it is surrounded by office and the house of corps commander, and many army units surrounding, and all the government officials, and that is a very, very sensitive area. We as born in Peshawar, we were not allowed to freely move around in that area unless and until we show our ID card, and they used to search our cars, and when you used to go daily and drop our children, they used to inquire about where are you going to, where are you coming from. And even then, in such like situation, how it was possible to carry out such a heinous and such a big terrorist attack, it was literally not possible, because the information which they were given is, and as I'm a criminal lawyer, I could understand that they are lying, because the number of the terrorists which they were initially claiming, they were like 5 to 6, and then we got information from the other school children, and they say this was more than 20. So there was a certain missing, and we've been asking.
But Mr. Fazal Khan, one thing, it is one thing, and again I'm trying to ask a question to get to what you want to say and to get to the truth then about this. It is one thing that different news come out about the attackers. I remember, for example, following on the news, the 9/11 attacks. In the beginning, it was there are 20 hijackers, there are 5 hijackers, 6 buildings. You know, this happens in the flux of the moment, especially when a terrorist attack is taking place. That's one thing. You have been saying, which I find, you know, a big revelation in that sense, is that you have been saying from the onset that this terrorist attack on a school of children, wherein almost 150 children were killed, that this attack was carried out by terrorists but was facilitated by the Pakistani military establishment.
Exactly.
That's a big accusation to make.
Yes, it is.
Where do you base that upon?
Yeah, actually, as I mentioned, and I'm waiting, unfortunately, for a proper, and we've been waiting for a proper judicial commission, because this is not only me. There were other parents as well. There were people inside the offices as well. There are people who are severely injured. Those who are still like unable to work. There are eyewitnesses who have seen many things which should not be like there. The most important thing is that if you have heard about it, that there was a first aid training going on in the school on that day when the terrorists entered and attacked the school. Unfortunately, and that first aid training was not supposed to be there, rather I would say never there. Like, you know, they have staged this first aid training, and the first aid training was staged by a so-called major of the army. You know, this is very important for the audience to know that since
no, that's what's important is that what are the things which make you believe this?
Actually, since our children are in that school not for first day of first month, it was there for more than 10 years. So there was a system, a syllabus which they used to follow. The procedure was that for every month, for every week, there used to be a syllabus that this month, this activity is going to be held, and this will be like a day for drill, or this will be a party day, or this will be like, you know, for examination day, or whatever. So in syllabus, I'm sorry, in syllabus, that first aid training was not scheduled. This is very important, because, and not on this day, not even on the whole year, not even before that year. So there was no point of organizing this first aid training. Secondly, for the sake of argument, if first aid training is for the first time, they schedule it, or they want to do it should be for year 11 or year 12. Like in our school system, you might have heard of NCC, National Corps Trainings, and they do it to get to the university or medical college for 20 marks. They used to tell that is made for year 11 and year 12. So this first year training was not supposed to be for, like my son was in year 9. My son at that time was in year 8. For year 8, year 9, year 6, year 7, that student was not supposed to be in that first year training. Actually, what happened is on that day, when one major, so-called alleged major, came into the school and asked the principal that I'm here to hold a first aid training. So he was replied by the principal that we have no such like intimation. There is not in a syllabus or student. So she was snapped. She was asked, rather that major shouted at her that, come, what I'm directing you to, I'm ordering you to bring the children to the auditorium. She replied that, look, first year and second year student are now gone because they are free now. They had their party. They say, okay, don't worry, if you don't have year 11 or year 12 student, bring all those year 9, year 7, year 6 students, but I want full this hall.
The auditorium.
Yeah, the auditorium. So later
and the main attack
took place in that auditorium. The interesting thing is that it's a common sense. If the terrorists attack in a school or in a building, their prime target should be the person who is wearing a uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So the person, the major who was conducted that first aid training,
mm-hmm.
he hasn't got a single scratch, along with his two soldiers who was accompanying him. So we were surprised that how come it is possible? How come it is possible that terrorist comes and they never attack that the person who's wearing a major uniform along with two others, and he just started abrupt straight firing on the school children. So, and this very fact is confronted, I would say that we've been investigating the issue. I personally am a very responsible person, and every place I have admitted it, that the then Corps Commander, General Lieutenant Hidayatur Rahman, who was the Corps Commander of Peshawar, he admitted that yes, he was not the person who came here. He was in fact a major of the army. He was a doctor, and he was there to deliver this first aid training. And upon my question that if it is not scheduled, how come he was not supposed to be there on that day? And most importantly, whenever there was any function or any event in the school, the parents were informed of that school. But not a single parent out of those 1,400, no one was informed of this event.
But isn't it true that a lot of children of army personnel also studied in this school?
There were some, I don't disagree with you, but the worrisome thing is that we've been inquiring that there were certain, if I'm not wrong, almost 77 officers, children were, I would say, migrated or removed, transferred to other schools just in a very short period of time before this incident. And we've been asking them to bring us the record and to show us that how come, why those 77 officer children were removed from this school. If one individual or two or three, it's okay, understandable that they might have transferred. But if their parent or the officer is not transferred to any other district or city, why would they are removed from this school to another school in the city? And the most importantly, there was a prior threat to the incident that, and that threat was 28th to 29th of August, specifically to the provincial government from the military intelligence Islamabad, from the federal government, asking them that there is a strong threat to army public school boys. So for your information, army public school boys only one school in Peshawar city. There's not second school. So it's common sense. If you have a threat, a very specific threat, that the terrorist organization has planned to carry an attack on a school, and they exactly give you the name of the school on this school, then it is common sense that you should increase the security of that school.
So you've mentioned a few things. One is, of course, that there were things done out of syllabus.
Yes.
On that particular day. There was an army major which was in the auditorium,
yeah, who was not supposed to be there.
Who was not supposed to be there. He asked the principal to gather all children in, yeah, the auditorium. The main attack took place there. The army major was not attacked. Then you have also said that around 77 officers moved, who were not transferred to any other place, moved their children out of that school. And you have been demanding a judicial commission to sit
probe
on this and to probe this, and that has not been done until today.
Until today, there is a so-called judicial commission order, but unfortunately, though it was not as per our demand, but still the commission of that report is not public. So till today, we've been asking that whatever information they have, whatever evidences they have collected, at least these evidences, that facts should be brought to the general public and to the government openly, that what had happened actually.
But judicial commissions have been formed in Pakistan for smaller issues.
Yes.
I remember the attack on Hamid Mir.
Yeah, of course.
There was a judicial commission on that.
Every single day there is a judicial commission on very petty matters. We have heard of judicial commission for such a petty matters that is common. But unfortunately, why they were reluctant to form a judicial commission for almost 4 years? They were avoiding, and though we've been demanding, we've been protesting through we've been knocking the doors of the courts through petitions in the High Court, in the Supreme Court. We've been making press conferences, we've been demonstrating, making protests on the road, every single place. And it's natural, we were not common people, we were the victim, direct victim. We have lost our children. It was our right. It is in the Constitution, it is the fundamental right of every single citizen that he should be like, everyone has to be, a normal death is his right. If the life is snatched from him, it should be probed. So that was another aspect, and there were many other issues. The then station commander, who was supposed to be suspended and a strong action should be taken against him, he was promoted. Then there are other issues. When this attack was made, it was about 10 past 10 or somewhere 10 in the morning. 10 or 15 past, it is the time when the attack was made. In 8 minutes time, the provincial police, elite force, anti-terrorist squad arrived to the spot, having that armored vehicle and the soldiers from the special police. They were not allowed to go inside.
By whom?
By the security officer, the army deployed outside the school, the military men. They were not, they never allowed them to go inside to rescue the children. And that is why this attack was almost for many hours. That is why the casualty is so many in numbers. And then there was another development. Through social media, one SSG commando who actually participated in that operation later on, as I told you, that elite force police, local police was not allowed to go inside. That since it's a military school, and only military are allowed to come and they will carry their operation. And the SSG commandos are on their way from a different part of a different city, and once they will arrive, they will carry out the operation. But after this incident, one SSG commando, Mudassir Iqbal, who later on left the army, and he was a fugitive, and his video was viral, and he confessed and admitted that, and he was asking for pardon from us, that I am the SSG commando, and I took part in that operation. When we reached to the Army Public School, the casualty was not that much. We were asked by our officer to maximize the casualty. And I have this, let me admit that I am the one who is guilty of killing my the innocent children of that school.
And
SSG this SSG commando
is the most elite force of
yes,
the Pakistani army.
Pakistani army. And I'm very responsibly telling you that the then Nadeem Bhatt, who was the corps commander of Peshawar at that time, I asked him that, do you know this man, SSG Commando Mudassir Iqbal? And he admitted that yes, he is a SSG Commando, he was the part of our force, and now he is a fugitive. For me, that much confession is enough, because if he would have denied that, no, we don't know this man, because that man was showing his ID card, his professional army card. So these are the facts and evidences, and there are a lot more. We've been asking for CCTV cameras. What we've been told that the terrorists came in a stolen Suzuki carry dabba, and so we've been asking that you should bring all these to the commission.
And that judicial commission has now been set up?
That judicial commission has been set up. It was initially ordered to investigate and to probe this incident within 2 months and to present its support to the Supreme Court, but unfortunately it took more than 2 months and 2 years.
And what about when such an attack happens? Normally in our part of the world, the government gives some relief in the sense of, you know, money or jobs or something. Has that happened in this case?
It's normal. It's like for every single citizen, if there's an incident of terrorism, that's a normal package which they give.
But it is not the package which the people of the parents want. They actually want to know the truth.
Of course, because no one on earth would sell the blood of their loved one. You understand? And that is a different part of. And there are parents who have refused to take that compensation, and it is not a compensation, it is just a package, which is not for free.
You know, this, of course, the Judicial Commission is there. You have been, of course, agitating for this to such an extent that at some point of time, and I will come there, that you had to leave Pakistan. Now, the interesting question here is, why would the Pakistani army facilitate a terrorist attack on an army public school? What do they get out of it?
Look, that is the basic reason for our demand of a judicial commission, to find out the reasons.
But what do you think the reason is?
Yes, but if we see the history, there is always a vested interest of institutions. If you Google this time of year when the attack took place, the America was not very much happy from Pakistani army, and they were demanding that we need accounts of those $33 million which were given against war, or so-called war on terror. If you remember, there was another incident, OJD camp incident took place in Rawalpindi. That was the Stinger missile issue, which Stinger missile were sold to Korea and Iran, and American missile, which was supposed to be for Afghanistan. So things like that happen. And if you have heard of on Al Jazeera TV, there was chief of ISI, ex-chief of ISI. He very openly admitted that yes, things like that happen. Everything is fair in war and love. So we do stage dramas sometime to gain our purpose or what we are up to. So sometime there is damage, we call it collateral damage. So my humble question would be from every single parent as well, that why should I be a part of, or my blood should be shed like this on the name of collateral damage? If I was of the opinion, of the belief that yes, sacrifice has been taken from me for a greater cause, then it's okay. We people have a history like that. That if it is for any sacred, for a national cause, then it's okay. But if my blood is shedded just for a conspiracy, or for any personal gains, or for any military loss, or any other interest, then it's no good.
So so again, for tactical or strategic advantages in the war on terror, and maybe to gain leverage with the Americans, or to gain sympathy,
Yeah.
you know, with the people of Pakistan. I know that after this, the drones and the permissions to have drones
Operations,
was intensified. Those are of course games the army and the intelligence agencies play. But after this, you have been agitating, you have been advocating, you have been protesting to such an extent that at some point of time you had to leave a few years back.
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, actually, if you remember, I would also mention it that soon after this incident, one Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan took responsibility of this attack.
Yes.
And that was on the media and everyone, and we were given in-camera briefing by the corps commander that, look, we will take revenge of these innocent souls. And
now they are making deals with them.
yeah, this is the problem. So, and if I would specifically tell you something about that incident at that time, what happened is we've been told that Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan took responsibility and we will not leave them, we will not spare them at any price. There was a time when General Rahil Sharif used to say, I remember his dialogues, that look, I have the pictures of these innocent souls, and whenever I see these pictures, I get energy and we will not spare anyone. These were the time when, you know, after this 16 December 2014 APS attack, National Action Plan was planned, and military courts were formed, and they were given the powers that, okay, you try whatever you do, but we don't want such like incident again on our country. But unfortunately, and those that time period was extended then again for 2 years. So altogether 4 years of that military court. There were people who were prosecuted in that military court, but only not those who claimed responsibility of this attack. You got my point? One TTP commander Ehsanullah Ehsan, who was the spokesperson of TTP, he was allegedly captured by the Pakistan military, and he was on the prime TV at 8 o'clock in the national media. He was presented to the nation that, look, we have captured the TTP spokesperson and commander Ehsanullah Ehsan.
He somehow escaped a few years ago.
Yes, this is the very important thing, that he was allegedly arrested. So he was supposed to be brought to the court.
Yes.
And especially to the military courts. Because the basis of military courts was Army Public School incident. So he should be the prime person who should be prosecuted in that court of law.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, he was kept in a so-called safe house for more than 3.5 years. While the law of the land, the law of the country says that every accused should be produced before a court of law within 24 hours. Okay? And especially for military courts, the system, if I would tell you as a lawyer, I know, then normally it was with the concept that day and night there should be a trial, and the accused should be sentenced or convicted or whatever the result may be with a speedy trial. For 3.5 years he was like in a safe custody. He was enjoying a luxurious life, and most recently people have seen his videos that yes, was enjoying a very luxurious life, and in 2020 he fled the country. He fled not only that safe house but even the country, and there was a tweet from Turkey that I am safe now in Turkey. So and the national media, our military, our institution, our provincial government, federal government, they were completely silent on the issue, unless and until a journalist from I think a foreign news agency, they asked from Ejaz Shah, the then Ministry of Interior that what happened to Ahsanullah Ihsan, and he then admitted that yes, unfortunately there was an operation and he fled and we are after him and we will soon catch him. Until today he is now.
So this strengthens your notion or your belief of the army or the establishment being involved in this attack, that once they got hold of the prime suspect,
Yep.
They did not produce him in court.
Of course.
And they actually kept him in a safe house, and maybe once it became too hot for them to keep him in that safe house, he eventually not only fled the safe house but fled the country and ended up in Turkey.
Yes. This is a dilemma that this is not the first time, and I would say this is not the last time. If you Google, there was a breakup in Deir Ismail Khan prison where more than 300 terrorists fled from the prison, and the media was silenced on that. There are the recent development, if you see in our country, our ex-corps commander Peshawar or ex-chief of ISI, General Fazal Khan, he was seen in the media while in Kabul celebrating the Taliban victory in Afghanistan and glorifying them.
And but to come to a period before this, why did you eventually have to flee from your country?
Yes, actually, as you know, and as I mentioned you, that I've been following that APS case, and in that time I was on every possible forum. I raised my voice to get justice for those slain children, with the intention that such like incident should not be repeated in future. It was must, because unless and until you give the perpetrator, the culprits, you don't give the punishment, you cannot stop any future incident. It is must. That is why the concept of punishment is there. So we chasing that APS case on multiple forum in the High Court as well as in the Supreme Court. If you heard of, on 25th of July, our hearing was fixed in the Supreme Court of Pakistan, and as I was very vocal and on every forum, I've been criticizing the government, the institutions, even the courts, the judges.
The army.
Yeah, the army, the judges, every single person. For me, I'm desperate for justice. So I knocked every single door. That was the reason on 21st of July I was attacked, and it was not the first time. I've been given threats, severe threats many times.
By whom?
But I'm very responsibly telling you that I've been even given threats by Pakistan military. Some officers, the colonel level officers, they asked me that, look, you are on the hit list of some terrorist organization. I say, why am I on the hit list of them? They say, because you are speaking against them, and they might give a blame on us. So I said, look, this is my country, I'm doing what I have to do. I won't back up. So ultimately on 21st of July, just 4 days before next hearing at the Supreme Court, a very highly planned assassination attempt was made on my life, and it was a broad daylight, having CCTV cameras in the whole city. But unfortunately, no one was arrested.
And what did they do? They fired?
Yes, they make straight firing upon me. They were two motorcycle terrorists and straight firing upon me, and it was my good luck. I narrowly escaped while my car got 9 bullets in it. It's an unbelievable thing that how it's a miracle that I survived that attack. So I've been asking, and on the very next, I would say, couple of days, again I was issued with a threat alert by the provincial government that your life is in danger. I said, look, we have to find out the culprits, we have to find out the attackers, and you have to punish them accordingly, and this is your duty to protect me. But they were asking me to arrange my own security and not to move around and to put CCTV cameras on and to have my own personal security guards, which is literally not possible for a common person. Because I'm not a feudal lord living in a rural area. Being a common man, practicing lawyer, I used to go every day to the court, to the market, to school, to bring my children and to go outside. So, but they refused to give me. Rather, the intensity of the threats risen, and I've been severally asked. Then I filed a petition in the High Court asking them to provide me security if I am at risk. But unfortunately, since I am not in good books of these military intelligence and security agencies, and they have to decide whom to provide security or whom to not. And you might have seen for actors and for singers, there is security for every person, but not for the genuine human rights activist, I would say, or a person or a lawyer who are up to justice. So that was an unfortunate, and then I was receiving every week these calls. I was left with no other option but to leave my country because literally it wasn't possible for me, and my family were begging me. Just they were not ready to see another incident. So I was not having any option but to leave the country, and since then I am in the UK in exile, hoping and struggling from here even to get justice for those slain children. And
so your only crime, if you can call it,
yes,
has been that you have been asking justice for the killing of 147 children in the Peshawar school attack.
Of course, and during all this struggle and this time, a lot of some more facts came into my knowledge, which obviously which connects these state institutions, I would say security agencies, military intelligence, that they have very strong connections with these terrorists, and I'm always against them. If you remember when very notorious terrorist Osama bin Laden, who was killed, who was allegedly found in Abbottabad, Pakistan. If you remember, the one who made this, who spied upon him, that was allegedly Dr. Shakil Afridi, and another one, Colonel Iqbal, Colonel Saeed Iqbal probably. Though he is in America, but Dr. Shakil Afridi
is in jail.
He is in jail. So, been speaking for him that if a world-renowned, international recognized terrorist has been captured, so the person who helped in capturing him or killing him, he should be awarded a gold medal. He should be awarded, a great honor.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, till today, he is lying in the prison in solitary confinement for more than almost now 7 or some years. He is behind the bar. So what does it indicate? So no one even speak for him. And one of our friend, Samiullah Afridi, who was his lawyer, he was also targeted and he was killed.
Yeah. But is it therefore that during this struggle, at some point of time, you also became a founding member of the Pashtun Tahafuz Movement, whose one of their main demands is that they want to know what happened to the so many thousands of disappeared people. I remember that somewhere they said, if they are dead, then give us their dead bodies, and if they are not dead, produce them in court and let the court decide. So this struggle of yours for justice for the army public school victims, is that how you also became very much involved in the struggle of the PTM?
Of course, when in 2018, since its inception, the PTM, I'm a part of it from the first days when the first demonstration in the Islamabad, and originally the stage of PTM is always for the victims to come and raise their voice. That was the basic of If you remember Nakibullah Masood, he was brutally killed.
And like vice versa. University, I think.
He was in Karachi, he was killed by, in a, what you call it, a stage, no, yeah. It's a target killing by SSP Rao Anwar. So, that stage when, you see, since the first days I am with PTM, and always people know me from PTM, I've been at every single stage which is available to us, we raise our voice, and obviously it is, as you mentioned, for those oppressed people, those who are victim, or those who are extrajudicially killed, or those who are kidnapped, or those who are disappeared, for them always raising our voice. If you have recently seen, as you mentioned, that this is it's common in our part of the world. You recently have heard about this Multan hospital. 500 bodies were recovered on the top of a hospital, Nishtar hospital, the dead bodies. So how come, and now I have seen this news today that there was some more than 300 Pashtuns and some Baloch who were now identified as from this Pakistani citizen. So this is common. So always, and as you mentioned, at that stage, always people come. In my practice life, I have come across the parents who've been waiting for their forced disappearance, children for years, for 10 years. And so most recently there was an old man. He was just crying every day. He used to come to the court sitting that I am waiting for almost 10 years for my son. And my wife now, she became blind. She can't see because she cried so much every day, morning and night. I said, what are you up to if you can't find? I said, look, I want, even if they have killed my son, they should give me the body. If not, they should give me, they should actually show me his grave, that here he's buried.
That is the despair you live in if someone is enforced disappeared, that you cannot move on because you don't know whether he's dead or whether he's held somewhere.
And you have heard of it that the helicopter in Balochistan, they come, they drop the bodies, 3 or 4 bodies from the helicopter. Who has these helicopters? I don't see anyone in Pakistan having helicopters dropping bodies, only military.
So you subscribe to this very famous slogan of the PTM which says that behind all this terrorism,
uniform.
It is the uniform.
Yeah, this is my slogan. If you have seen the videos which were quite popular, the slogans like in Swat as well. So I was always vocal, and that was the reason I was not in good books, and even very lately I've been receiving threats, even in Europe as well. So this is like it.
But you will continue with.
Of course, we are used to what we will do. You know, if this is what we call it life. Life is about struggle. If we don't struggle, then we are dead. And who will do? End of the day, someone should stand up.
And coming to the future of this, because just, you know, I'm coming to the end of it, but I just want one thing to know from you. This policy of terrorism, this policy of, you know, suppressing people like you who ask for their genuine constitutional rights. It is not the constitution of Afghanistan you're asking from. You're asking it from your own Pakistani constitution. You are a Pakistani. You're not an Indian or an Afghan. This policy of terrorism, this suppressing the rights of the people who ask for justice, where will this lead Pakistan to? What will be the end? Where will it go? If this continues to happen, to pursue a policy of terrorism, to then deny your own people their basic fundamental rights, What do you see happening?
You see, I'm very much optimistic now.
Okay.
Things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
You have seen very recently there are huge gatherings and sits in Swat, Dir, uh, Waziristan, Bajwar, Bunair, you name it, erstwhile Fata and parts of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. People now realized that this is the end of it. No more tolerance. Now the things have changed. That is why I'm very optimistic, and I'm proud that I'm a part of PTM, and that is, I think, the reason that they have given voice to the voiceless. Now, there was a time when they used to kidnap or disappear people, for 10 people from one family or 5 or 6, and people used to keep silent for years and years, sometimes for 10 years, 15, and they even do not tell their relatives and to their villagers. But now, if there is any killing, if there is any disappearances, on the same day the people bring their body on the road.
But is there accountability? Is there accountability?
So at least, what I would say, we have unveiled that curtain, that image. Now there is a very strong hatred against these, I would say, military intelligence, military establishment, whatever you name it. But there is a strong resistance now against them.
In Khyber
Pakhtunkhwa particularly. And people...
But you don't see it in Karachi, Lahore...
Yeah, it is the national media who always censor it. But if you see, there was a time, I remember, people wish and struggle to join army. Now they hate army. Why is that? Especially if you have heard of like ex-tribal, our erstwhile Fata people, they've been always at the forefront of any war, if you see about Kashmir or everywhere. Now, from that very parts, the people are, demonstrating such a huge gathering, and they say no to Talibanization. You have recently seen this so-called secret negotiation of Pakistani military establishment, the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, and they wanted to bring them back with their own structure, their organizational structures with weapons, but the people have categorically refused that no, we are no more tolerating them.
But Mr. Fazal Khan, of course, you are optimistic because you are also part of the PTM, and I hope you really succeed. But to counter such a big force, a military which has been ruling the country for more than 75 years, don't you think you need more than just demonstrations in a few cities?
Of course, people are thinking about that. There are people now, if you have heard of.
I mean, I'm basically saying there needs to be, from bottom up, there needs to be a process of democratization of society of Pakistan.
Of course, there are 3 ways out. One is the struggle for a proper, real democratic government. Unless and until there is a proper democratic government, which is obviously for the people, by the people.
Yes.
And then legislation and some judicial reforms which could stop all these atrocities, and to punish and to bring to justice those journalists, I would say, and those judges who have always supported these, I would call, real terrorists. If not, then...
By real terrorists, you mean...
The military establishment of Pakistan. The terrorists which you normally see, they are their praxis. We call them praxis. If not, people are very careful about using words, but I would say straightforward, that our people have started thinking about other options as well. In a very recent demonstration in Swat, in Dir, people have started thinking about going back from the Pakistan. Like they said, it used to be Dir state, used to be Swat state, it used to be Chhatral, they used to be small states.
So now they are talking about secession.
They are talking about now secession. They are talking about maybe. They said that if you cannot provide me justice, you cannot give me any infrastructure, if you don't give me any education, you can't give me the basic thing that is security. That what for Pakistan? Take off your flag. We are much more happy, like in our previous state.
The princely state,
yes,
which they used to have.
So people have started thinking about that. Though maybe if there is a bit delay, but there is never late. Maybe the nation is not ready yet, but they have started thinking about this perspective as well.
Which could mean a breakup of the country.
Of course, because look, wherever you live, in every country, with every state, you have a relationship, you have a contract. We are under agreement, and we are in a contract with the Pakistan government through that which is called constitution. If they violate my rights, constitutional rights, if they don't give me what I'm asking, which is always in the four corners of the constitution, if they don't give me my basic constitutional right, then why should I keep respect of that constitution?
That's a valid point. I wish you the very best of luck in your struggle to get justice. What I've gathered from you is that you are not a secessionist.
Yes.
You are a proud Pakistani.
Of course.
But you are wanting to get your rights under the Constitution of Pakistan.
Of course.
And for that you have even accepted exile. You have even lost a child.
Of course.
And despite all these sacrifices, you will continue to go on.
Of course. This is life, as I told you, that till the last breath, till the last moment, our struggle will continue, and I hope so that we will see a morning.
Let's hope so. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you.